Welcome back to the Watch List. I'm Nicole Petalides. Joining me right now, special guest Dan Ives is with us, Managing Director, Equity Research, Wedbush Securities. Dan Ives, great to have you on the show. There was a time where you loved a lot of these tech names and they started to falter and people started to question you, and then everything takes off and hits new highs. So you must be feeling a little better about 2023. Let's start off with Apple. And the talk about ESPN, is that something that you think could be a good fit?
Yeah, I mean, Nicole, I think it's a matter of when, not if. Because that fits like a glove in terms of their broader strategy going after live sports content. And I think it's something where that could be potentially on the block depending on the Disney strategic review. In my opinion, that's something that makes a ton of strategic sense for Cook at a minimum as it plays out.
So at this point now, when we talk about all these streamers, and of course Apple TV has sort of paled in comparison to Disney and Paramount and all the, I mean, I don't know about Paramount, but, you know, Netflix and all that. So, I mean, so much of it is about sports and streaming. And when I think about Apple, I just really am thinking about new phones and wearables and, you know, VR headsets and things. I mean, are we able to see them in all of these realms? And can they also do extremely well in all of them? Are you expecting a new great iPhone and more?
Look, it's the golden Cupertino install base. That's what separates them really from every other company in the world. Now, if you look at tech, more and more focused on streaming, focused on live sports content. Look at Amazon. It's a good example. I think Apple, this is just a drum roll. I think the golden goose is ESPN in our opinion. And I think that as this all plays out potentially over the 6 to 9 months, we believe it's a matter of when, not if, that this ultimately goes down that path. And I think Cook has recognized with the MLS deal, the Messi situation in terms of how massively successful that's been. And then even the Pac-12, I mean, that failed deal that ultimately could have been, you know, potentially on the table. I think this is really just the start of Apple getting much more aggressive on live sports content. ESPN, that believes the target.
It's really unbelievable because, I mean, that was sort of like the good thing for Disney. But you know that Bob Iger is certainly, he said he really got more than he bargained for when he came back in the lead role for Disney, and he's sort of trying to shape it up. And this will be interesting if they pair up with this, and this would be an interesting foray for Apple. In the meantime, new phones, holidays, hot, very hot. What do you think?
Scale 110, I'll call it a 9, maybe even a 9.2. I look at everything we see, this is going to be up from iPhone 14, despite the macro. And Nicole, that's why, in my opinion, this is a table pounder name here. I mean, despite many continuing to say best days in the rearview mirror, services is upticking toward double-digit growth. And you have, and this is important, 240 million iPhones that have not upgraded in 4+ years. I believe this is only halftime in the rally in Apple stock.
So 177 today, you know, 198 was the recent high. Does it get back to the recent high pretty quickly?
I think going into this cycle, I think we reach it by end of the year. And then I think we start on the track toward $3.5 trillion. Because ultimately, look, I think base case, you start to look at 220. And as this all plays out on the services side, it's really a situation right now where I think investors are underestimating the underlying growth, constant currency, what's on the horizon at Apple.
Tell me your thoughts on Palo Alto. That was a name that you certainly liked there ahead of that sort of strange earnings report on that Friday afternoon. You held your ground, and then it turned out, you know, it was great news and it soared. Your thoughts on Palo Alto and where it's headed and why?
Yeah, I'll tell you one thing, Nicole. It's great not to be having a conference call tomorrow after the bell. I mean, look, I think that was a Friday night Twilight Zone experiment, and I think Nikesh recognized that. But it comes down to this: it's the golden story in cybersecurity, and I think this is really almost the Messi of cybersecurity as it plays out. And I think Palo Alto's gained more and more share, and I think this speaks what we're seeing across the sector. I think as we go into the next 6-12 months, cybersecurity, Palo Alto being a top pick, is going to outperform the rest of tech.
Yeah. When you think of the world of semis and what's going on with the AI, I mean, everything sort of has a hand in AI. We got great numbers from Nvidia, you know, and the outlook incredible as well. What are some of your favorites at this time? I mean, and I also am curious about all the people that are leading, you know, whether it's Jensen Huang, you know, you have Lisa Su, you have Tim Cook at Apple, you have Elon Musk. You know, do you call them all geniuses or just the leaders of our time?
Yeah, well, look, I think last night the godfather of AI spoke in terms of Jensen and Nvidia. And that's guidance heard around the world, despite, you know, any sort of little knee-jerk here. We think this is a stock that continues to go much higher. And look, it's a 1995 moment. I think it's the biggest transformational tech theme we've seen in 30 years, which is why we believe a new tech bull market has already begun. When it comes to the new leaders, you talk about Lisa Su, of course, Cook, the legend, you have Nadella, of course, Musk. We're talking about, these are CEOs, they're playing chess, others are playing checkers. And in terms of the $1 trillion of incremental spend on the horizon, you're going to see the strong get stronger.
And at this point now, you know, I had on Hatem Diab from Gerber Kawasaki, and he was always a big Tesla, Elon Musk fan, and he said that a lot of the people calling into the office are just sort of questioning, you know, after buying Twitter, distracted by SpaceX, that there's a lot of competition for Tesla. I mean, you look at Barron's, they were talking about BYD and the market share there, and Tesla being 4 times behind. Is Tesla losing its hold? I know you loved Tesla for a long time. A lot of people love Tesla. It's been fun to watch at 232. You know, it's a battery company too. It's not just an auto company. Where do you think Tesla's headed?
I think it's Tesla's world. Everyone else is paying rent. I think this is just the first phase of the growth story playing out. Monetization that we're seeing on Supercharger. Eventually, what we believe is going to be battery. You look at FSD, that's the golden goose in terms of AI. And obviously, look, the Gerber team, Gerber Kawasaki team, you know, thought leaders when it comes to the view of Tesla. And Nicole, I think this is the get out the popcorn moment to where this is all heading in this green tidal wave that plays out. But remember, it's not just going to be Tesla. You're going to have success stories like Rivian. You'll have VinFast. You're going to have some of these transformational, the Fords, the GMs, you know, obviously some of the European players. There's going to be many winners in this $5 trillion green tidal wave.
Yeah. And your bull case on Tesla, what's the bull case on Tesla?
We're 350 base case, bull case 400. And look, I think right now, the price cuts, those have worked phenomenally. And we love that strategy, even though 95% of those price cuts in the rearview mirror, you'll see overreactions, but it is hard to argue with what I believe has just been a master poker move by Musk.
All right, Dan Ives, love having you on the show. It's always
great to be on with you.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Dan Ives, maybe he's playing chess while everybody else is playing checkers, because he's been right a lot. Dan Ives, Wedbush Securities.